In drag racing, velocity transcends mere excitement. It's an entire existence. Each sprint along the 1,320-foot strip brims with peril, a precarious equilibrium between mastery and calamity. At 300 miles per hour, even a momentary eyelid closure endures longer than potential endurance. The powerplants howl, the rubber contorts, and across those fleeting 4 seconds, existence dangles amid propulsion and annihilation. Yet occasionally, the quest for triumph concludes in utter quietude. Concealed beneath the thunder of nitromethane and the gleam of polished alloy resides a grim reality. The discipline's most pivotal advancements were forged through sacrifice. These collisions, the most catastrophic ever preserved on film, shattered not only machinery but souls, overhauled regulations, and transformed drag racing eternally. This isn't a compilation of triumphs. It's a sequence of sorrow and renewal. A record of instances where humanity's drive for rapidity clashed against the boundaries of natural laws. Every narrative encompasses duality, the anguish that rattled the motorsport realm and the advancement spawned from it. This evening, we re-examine the 10 incidents that altered the landscape irrevocably. From blazing conflagrations and detonations to the stealthy threats unforeseen, they serve as stark mementos that evolution in this arena has always demanded a steep toll. Each breakthrough, each protective stratum, each instantaneous protocol stems from an individual's ultimate payment. Every fraction of time matters, and certain individuals receive no reprise. Don Big Daddy Garlett's embodied drag racing's audacious trailblazer, an innovator who crafted his vehicles personally and propelled them to extremes. On a balmy vernal afternoon in 1970, amid the decisive heat at Lyons Drag Strip in California, catastrophe unfolded. As Garlett surged from the staging beams, the gearbox detonated with inconceivable violence. Fragments of alloy tore into the driver's compartment, the eruption amputating a segment of his right pedal extremity. The vehicle whirled, the motor wailed, and the spectators plummeted into hush. Emergency responders dashed amid fumes and wreckage obscuring the pavement. Garlett remained aware, tormented by excruciating pain, yet breathing. The mishap nearly terminated his vocation, but conversely ignited his most profound legacy to the pursuit. Throughout convalescence, he commenced drafting a groundbreaking configuration, relocating the power unit aft of the operator. The posterior motor dragster emerged from trauma and urgency. It eradicated the lethal hazard of gearbox and clutch blasts aimed at the pilot's limbs and core. Numerous within the field questioned its viability, but Garlett's vindicated the skeptics. His inaugural aft-engine machine triumphed immediately and evolved into the benchmark for protection across every premier fuel dragster. He forfeited a portion of his physique that fateful day, yet thereby preserved innumerable others. What originated as a solitary figure's ordeal morphed into one of motorsport's monumental upheavals. Blaine Johnson represented the horizon, a youthful victor possessing a seasoned warrior's resolve and universal admiration in the garages. He excelled in swiftness, concentration, and innate prowess. On September 1, 1996, amid a certification attempt at the U.S. Nationals in Indianapolis, the domain witnessed drag racing's merciless nature. Blaine initiated flawlessly, his rail accelerating beyond 300 miles per hour. Then, instantaneously, his powerplant burst. A fragment from the motor housing impacted the aft wheels, catapulting the chassis skyward and into the barrier at maximum velocity. The collision proved lethal. His sibling, Alan Johnson, simultaneously his tuner, arrived foremost at the ruins. Onlookers described him collapsing to his knees, voiceless. It constituted an episode that fractured not merely kin but the whole NHRA fellowship. The Johnson duo had been indivisible. Two souls fated to conquer the discipline in unison. Presently, one had departed. The devastation at Indy compelled the NHRA to institute novel enclosure mechanisms for nitro power units engineered to impede debris from converting rails into aerial projectiles. Blaine's demise served as the impetus for protective evolution safeguarding forthcoming eras. He surpassed being a competitor. He embodied the pursuit's potential. And his passing created an irreplaceable emptiness. When his vehicle erupted, it wasn't solely alloy that fractured. It was drag racing's essence. Scott Kalida's terminal passage at Englishtown, New Jersey endures as one of the most appalling spectacles in NHRA annals. A dual-top fuel titleholder and offspring of icon Connie Kalida, Scott was renowned for serene expertise and reliability. But on June 21, 2008, within a flicker, pandemonium erupted. Throughout his certification traversal, his humorous vehicle's motor detonated exceeding 300 miles per hour. The deceleration chutes malfunctioned in deployment. Lacking deceleration means, the machine persisted along the course at unrestrained propulsion, crashing into the gravel snare and igniting in a fiery orb. The ferocity of the strike defied description. The complete spectator area lapsed into muteness. Post-event, the NHRA confronted accountability. For years, deceleration zones had faced scrutiny for inadequacy against contemporary velocities. Scott's fatality enacted transformation instantaneously. The NHRA reduced competition lengths from 1,320 to 1,000 feet for nitro machines, mandated motor rotation caps, and bolstered terminals at every venue. Scott Kalida's bereavement proved intolerable, yet it preserved existences. His identity synonymous with overhaul. As a peer competitor remarked subsequently, Scott didn't merely perish in that blaze. He scorched a fresh trajectory for us all. His concluding traversal compelled the pursuit to address horsepower constraints. Eric Medlin's demise arrived sans infernos or blasts. It stemmed from the imperceptible. On March 19, 2007, amid a trial outing at Gainesville Raceway, his humorous vehicle commenced ferocious shuddering midway. To observers, it appeared a standard traversal awry. Yet within the enclosure, concealed dynamics operated. Oscillations of such magnitude rendered the machine hostile to its pilot. The intense fluctuation termed wheel vibration occurs when grip failure prompts the enormous aft rubbers to oscillate at extraordinary rapidity. Exceeding 250 miles per hour, that unseen quake generated gravitational pulls lashing Medlin's cranium laterally with ruinous intensity. His chassis deviated into the retainer, incurring harm seemingly endurable, but internal damage proved otherwise. He endured grave cranial trauma and never revived awareness. Aged merely 33. Eric transcended drivership. He delighted the entire enclosure. Celebrated for affability, wit, and modesty. His passing astonished the motorsport sphere as it unveiled a slayer unanticipated. Absent blaze, collision, turmoil. Merely the frigid recognition that mechanics had proven deadly. In reaction, his patriarch, John Medlin, alongside John Force Racing initiated the Eric Medlin Initiative. Eric Medlin's fatality constituted drag racing's most subdued calamity. Yet it reshaped the pursuit more deeply than any detonation. He perished not from flames or debris. He succumbed to motion's unseen potency. June 27, 2004. Gateway International Raceway, St. Louis. Heat waves danced above the tarmac as Darrell Russell, among drag racing's most luminous emerging luminaries, secured into his premier fuel rail. An ascending prodigy, courteous and meticulous, viewed as the NHRA's destiny. Subsequent events would immobilize that destiny eternally. Surpassing 320 miles per hour, proximate the terminus, his powerplant imploded. The blast disintegrated the chassis en route, hurling composite, alloy, and flames into the enclosure. Shards penetrated the canopy and breached the protective frame. The vehicle slid, fragmenting in a cascade of projectiles. Response teams advanced, but savagery exceeded rescue. Russell's passing struck the NHRA akin to a seismic wave. He exemplified the universally admired competitor. Modest, benevolent, immensely skilled, his demolished machine became a dour emblem of perils in every traversal. Yet tragedy birthed salvation. Analysts scrutinized the incident, ascertaining that despite horrific destruction, the pilot's capsule partially endured. That revelation prompted fortified framework substances, composite safeguards, and enhanced blaze suppression. Darrell Russell's episode earned the moniker Shrapnel Tempest, a term murmured by tuners viewing recordings in incredulity. Not merely a collision. A detonation exposing every flaw in ultra-rapid contraptions. He claimed victory at the stripe that day, never more. His demise closed one era of drag racing, inaugurating a securer, resilient successor. Not every drag racing misfortune transpired at the helm. In 1981, the NHRA forfeited a member to hazards beyond the warm-up zone. Leslie Lovett, the NHRA's sanctioned imager, dedicated years immortalizing the pursuit's mightiest instants, captured visions of rapidity, combustion, and conquest. He positioned nearer than any, perpetually seeking the flawless frame. That quest claimed his existence. Amid a certification traversal, a premier fuel machine ignited at initiation. The motor housing burst, propelling debris and fragments sidelines ward. Lovett, mere paces distant,